Okay, so the last thing that I'd like to show you dealing with the chat room session is how to view recordings. If you click to record your session, it will stay recorded. Unfortunately, if you forget to click the record, which I've done on several occasions, it will not be recorded. So for the ancient Greece study session, something that I held with my students after, I think I held it from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And we just kind of reviewed for our test. What I did then was I recorded the chat room session, and the nice thing was the students who were unable to attend the session could then go in and read the recordings. So if you click the little arrows where it says the option menu, there's a few things you could do. You could edit it, maybe change the start date and end date, or you can view the recordings. So if you click recordings, you could also delete it as well. If you click recordings, it'll come up with all the recordings. If you need to pause or stop and record again, there will be multiple recordings there. I just let it play all the way through. So when I click the date and the time, it's going to come up with all of the responses that everyone had. Most of the times I write in all capital letters to make my responses and questions visible to the other students. This time I happened to forget to do that, and so it is a little difficult to read. I will say that if the students cannot make the study session, it does make it hard to go back and try and follow along. But if they have a question, they can usually just find the question and then see my response after the question is asked. So it's a good choice for, or a good option for all students. I also like the fact that I can print this. If anything inappropriate is said and I need to take it to administration, this is an easy way to go ahead and print it and have the evidence there. So I do always tell my students that they have to be careful on what they say because it can always be used against them. And again, for sixth graders, this usually is not a problem. There are some times, though, I will say that the students want to talk to everyone and want to say hello to everyone and goodbye to everyone. So normally at the beginning of the session, I will start off by giving them some rules and just say, we're here for our social studies session. That is all. You cannot talk about anything other than social studies with me or with the other students. We also want to make sure that they all say hi at one time. So usually I'll say hello and have everyone respond hello after that, just to kind of get it out of their system. For this type of session, I usually have about 25 kids, which is a lot to handle. So what I usually do is I will ask questions specifically to students. So I will, for example, say, Sydney, what is an aqueduct? And so Sydney will be the only one to answer. Usually I'll give them about 2 minutes, and if they don't respond, sometimes I will just type in and say, oops, maybe someone forgot to log off or walked away from their computer, and I'll ask another student a question. I always make sure also that I have the students be positive within the chat room. They're never negative, and they never make fun of anyone if they do get the answer incorrect. So that's pretty much the study session. Again, you do want to make sure that you go to communication and then collaboration to create your study session that will occur. And again, we'll talk a little bit about different ways that we can use the chat room session in our classrooms.